Hello! In this video, I will teach you how to prepare for a thesis defense. Stay tuned. Welcome back. In this video, I will give you 5 tips on how to prepare and to survive a thesis defense. If you stay until the end of the video, I will give you a bonus tip. Again, welcome to my channel. I am Dean Vera. I am a law school professor, a law school dean, and I've been a thesis panelist for the last 11 years. I have gathered these thesis defense tips in the dozens and dozens of thesis defense I've been in as a panelist. Hopefully you can get something from these and it'll help you to prepare for your thesis defense. I have 5 tips for you today and I'll explain each one of them and give details on how it'll help you in your thesis defense. The first tip: before you actually have the defense, you must read your thesis in its final copy. Take your thesis, get a clean copy, and read it again. Read it again like it's the first time. Just imagine your favorite movie or your favorite book and you're rereading it again. You know all the parts, you know all the sections, yet you're reading it again because you want it to know by heart. During that first reading, do not highlight, do not touch. If there's an important part of the page that you noticed, mark the side or the corner of the page with a pen because it'll be relevant later on. After you've done the first read, now you're ready to do the second read. In this second read, you will do the highlighting. You will highlight points that you feel are relevant to your defense. In that second read, you are going to look for the minor arguments, maybe look for the mini typos or mini errors. By having the second read after the first read, hopefully this will be retained in your memory when you go to your oral defense. Now do this first and second reading maybe 2 to 3 days before your actual defense. Don't do it the week before, and don't do it the night before because that'll be cramming. The second tip is the practice defense. Here you will get a non-lawyer to hear your defense, or if you're in a master's or doctoral thesis, you get somebody not in the field of your master's or your PhD. Have him sit down with you. Of course, give him a copy of your thesis. If you want, give him a shorter version, maybe the highlights of it. Let that person hear your defense, your style, your mannerisms, your diction, your cadence. Let him have an unprofessional opinion. What I mean is that he's not related to the field of your thesis. That way, he will only judge you by your style and form rather than the actual content or merits of the defense. It's just like me. Sometimes when I have to argue a point in court, I do it before my wife and she judges me on how I look, how I present, how I use my voice. That's where I got this tip from. To the person you're giving the practice defense, let him spot the errors. That way a non-biased person will be able to spot the errors which you did not see the first time, or the second time, or the third time. And now for the third tip, the actual oral defense. This is going to be difficult, so please take down these notes if you can. In your oral defense, try to look the best that you can be. Show the panelists that you are ready from the get-go. As you get into the room, try to look composed, courageous, confident. I know that's hard, but just act that way. It's just gonna be for 1 hour. Show the panelists that you're ready to go, ready to defend your thesis. Here are some of the mistakes I see in the law student proponent for the thesis. Skip the intro part. Don't introduce the thesis again. Go straight to your argument. Go straight to the point. You are going to skip the intro part because the panelist has already read your paper. He's already going to ask you the questions. But if you skip the intro part, then his questions will be limited to your arguments, your actual thesis. As you go to your arguments, attack your issues. Go head on. Tell them why what you're trying to defend or trying to protect or trying to argue is either right or wrong. Make sure you remember what your thesis is about. You're either trying to solve a problem or the problem can't be solved at all. And remember, you have to take a stand in supporting your thesis. Don't change your mind midstream. By taking a stand and supporting your arguments, you're telling the panelists that you know your thesis in and out. It's actually a good tasting burger. Now I'm hungry. The fourth tip that I will give you in this thesis defense, or how to prepare for a thesis defense, is that you have to have the proper mindset during the defense. Here's the mindset. Don't say that you're right. Don't push it. Don't say that the panelists are wrong. A thesis is whether to argue a point or defend the point. You've done the research for your thesis, you've done the writing, you've done the editing, you should know your thesis in and out. That's why in the first tip, you made the two readings, one for the cold read and one for the highlight read. Don't try to deviate from what you understood in your own thesis. You might be asked trick questions. Make sure you don't fall into that trap. Now, the fifth tip is for the panelists' questions. In my many years of experience as a thesis defense panelist, one of the first things I look for myself are errors, minor errors, typographical errors, grammatical errors, reference errors, page number errors, even margin errors. When that happens to you, admit those tiny errors, but only the errors as to form, not as to the substance of your thesis. If a thesis panelist shows that something is wrong in your thesis, do not argue that it is wrong. As again, do not have a mindset that you are right all the time. If you're going to go against what the thesis panelist concludes, simply state your conclusions with due respect. You can say, with due respect, I humbly disagree, sir or ma'am. Pretend you're in a courtroom. You're not going to say those things in front of a judge, are you? Now, you must remember, thesis panelists are experts in the field of your thesis. If they see an error with regards to the substance or your conclusions, admit it. Don't force it. It's just gonna cost 30 minutes of back and forth arguing. I've seen it. In reference to panelists' questions, when you are about to answer their questions, their queries, don't base your answers from personal experience or common knowledge. That is a trap that you should not fall. Your answers should be based on what is in your thesis. If you're going to back up your conclusions or your arguments, remember, only use the facts, the law, and jurisprudence and nothing else. Here is a bonus tip. You know your thesis in and out. You spent months, weeks, maybe even days writing that thesis. Also, remember why you chose this topic. What inspired you to choose that topic? I always ask that as a thesis panelist. I want to see the mindset of the thesis proponent when he makes his defense. Remembering why you chose that thesis topic should give you the courage to answer questions where you might feel there's a mental block or you're stuck with trying to figure out an answer. Remember that the panelists are there not to make you fail. They want to make you pass. But of course, it's their job to give you a hard time. Remember also that every lawyer with a Juris Doctor degree went through what you are about to go through. I can't emphasize this enough. Thesis panelists want you to pass. They want you to graduate. It's on you to fail the defense. I hope you picked up something in this video. If you have a chance, please explore my channels. I have other videos regarding law school advice. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing helps my channel grow. Thank you and have a good day.